be it resolved.
Welcome everyone to Be It Resolved, a place where we debate significant and sometimes insignificant topics for our own edification and for your enlightenment. Today's topic will be It Resolved, Canada should adopt a 4-day work week as a standard. Joining me in the debate today is Andrew Wood, Sarab Sandhu, Mario Karakidis, and my name is Al Brown. We've divided ourselves into two teams. Two teams will debate for the resolution and two against. The team that will debate for the resolution is myself and Sarab Sandhu. The team that will debate the con of this resolution will be Mario Karakidis and Andrew Wood. I'm going to begin the debate by giving you a quick rundown as to what this topic is about, and then give you my side as the as a proponent of this resolution. To begin with, there has been a lot of interest in Canada in the last year for a 4-day work week. In fact, in a poll, 53% of Canadians said they would prefer it. A couple of small municipalities have started a trial last summer, one in a rural municipality called Guysborough in Nova Scotia and another township of Zora in southern Ontario. Perhaps others have also adopted it. These are the ones that I know about in the news. I am also aware that there are many countries in the world, small ones it seems, that have adopted a 4-day work week, and others like France who have stipulated that the number of work hours in a day or in a week must be no more than 30. Overall,
well, now wait a minute, Al. Are you not propagandizing right now for the pro side? I mean, as a con proponent here, I have to object a little bit here.
I am launching into the pro for this.
So he says.
Now, a 4-day work week has been reviewed for a long time, and it now seems to be coming to the fore. And it is estimated by 2030, it will be adopted by many countries. The reasons for this are many. Firstly, we all want more leisure time so we can enjoy the fruits of our labors. Second thing, productivity of workers is increasing, and many times the number of hours you put in a day doesn't necessarily create more goods and services for society. For example, factories work at a set pace, and they just don't slow down just because workers are there or not. Artificial intelligence will also give us all a lot more time for ourselves. So overall, a 4-day work week sounds good, and it doesn't just have to be 30 hours a day for that week. You can have a shift around. For example, you can do 4 10-hour days, and in some cases, companies that have adopted this schedule, one in India, found huge increases in productivity because they did. Now I'm going to turn this over to the con side. Who on the con side would like to start? Andrew?
Are you inviting me to?
Yes, I'm inviting you.
Well, okay. So we've heard a lot of hot air so far, but so thank you very much, Al, for your introduction to the thing. Look. This whole 4-day work week thing, that's con. Clearly it's a con. Now I am speaking con the motion, but the whole thing, you're being con. Human beings are not like that. If you only give them 4 days of work a week to do, then what the heck are they going to do on those other 3 days? It's already problem enough that they have to occupy 2 days. Give them an extra day and that's just disaster. Listen, people are not motivated primarily, and they're just not. So listen, they're going to waste that time. They're not going to take advantage of that extra day. They're just going to do more stuff that's video games and TV movies and that kind of thing. So what is the point? There is no point. And the other thing, well, there's many things, but how can you mandate a 4-day work week, one size fits all? We have a vast society here with so many different functions, and there are just a great number of functions where people working a 4-day work week are not going to be able to handle it at all. I mean, it's just not reasonable. Personally, I work a 6-day work week myself as a teacher, by the way, here in the pandemic, and I'm working online. But I don't want you to tell me I have to work a 4-day work week. No, thank you very much. I'm happy with my 6-day work week. I'm not working all day in those 6 days. I basically have my mornings off till the early afternoon. I teach in the later afternoon and evening. But I do not want to be told that I have to work a 4-day work week. And so there you are, for reasons of impracticality, society isn't built that way. And impracticality, human beings aren't built that way. This is a bad idea.
Thank you very much, Andrew. And now we'll hear from Sarab on the good side of a 4-day work week. Sarab.
Yes, welcome all listeners and to everybody. Now this 4-day work week or 1-day work week or a 7-day work week, I'm from a shipping community where we had a 7-day work week, where we never rested at all. The ship had to go on. The show must go on. So there's no Saturdays, Sundays, nothing. But in the end, if there was nothing to do, you were just waiting for something to happen to be working. So having said that, now with the artificial intelligence and with everything else, the number of jobs have been reducing. Numbers of jobs are reducing. So in the book Brave New World, Aldous Huxley wrote in 1900s that there was a time when all the job was done by the machines. There was no jobs left for the human beings, but the human beings had to be gainfully employed. So they would be standing all in parks wearing white dresses. There was no fashion then, and they were given a pill by the government to feel happy, and that's what happened. So now, if we have just enough work for 4 days, then it'll be fine because the work is reducing. So you need more people and there's less work. So this way, the governments can help make sure everybody is reasonably busy. And there's a lot of things you can do when there's nothing happening. Andrew, this me time or doing nothing time, it's just meditating by the extra time. You become so healthy just doing that. So 4-day work week is a good idea. In fact, even half of that would be fine, but 4 days is just enough. They found out the productivity level of any operation doesn't go down too much if it is less than 4 days. So this is what's going to happen. But I don't know what's going to happen to the entrepreneur. They don't have any timing. Even an entrepreneur is working 24/7, for his own business. They don't have a timing issue.
No.
It all depends on productivity. So back to you.
Thank you very much, Sarab. Now, Mario, what do you have to say for the con side?
It's my time. It's my time. Okay, well, let me begin. Whew, where do I begin? My goodness. Well, first of all, let me frame it in a way that we can understand this properly. And the issue comes down to affordability. Okay? Can we afford to go to a 4-day work week? Well, in a society right now where both adults have to work, the answer tends to tell you that the cost of living aspect of this thing doesn't really work for a 4-day work week. If 2 people have to work a 5-day work week to make a living for their family, how can we go down to a 4-day work week? There has to be some kind of shift in the financial scales in order for people to be able to afford it. Now, the other thing is this: how do you make the time adjustments? There's Lockheed Martin, for example, in the United States has a 4-day work week, but they have their employees working 10 or 11-hour shifts. can people be able to do that for the 4 days so that they can complete the 40-hour time frame that is required? So again, manpower and the ability to keep things moving in an industrial society is key. Now, Sarah and Al said two things here, and the same thing. AI is coming up, and it's going to take away many jobs, and it's going to be able to give people the ability to have more leisure. Yeah, but you're not going to have that money. Okay, so that money disappears, that job disappears. So if you're going to be, as Al Brown said, enjoy the fruits of your labor, what fruits? What fruits? You're not going to have any fruits, okay? So come on, let's get real here. There has to be something more. And the only way that your ideal work week thing would work is, first of all, if we reduce cost of living down significantly, that people can afford it, which means that we have to have a huge social restructuring, or we have to basically abolish, guess what? Money. Okay, so that has to get out of there, out of the equation, so that we work as somebody who's been an entrepreneur, we work for our passion. And at that point, it doesn't matter how many hours you put in, because you're working for your passion, and it's not work anymore, it's passion.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave it there because my time is up, and we'll come back with Andrew, and I will hit you guys even stronger later.
Thank you very much, Mario. Now, everyone, we're going to have a free discussion between each of us on this, and we can disagree and or agree with what each of us has said. And I would like to begin with this by saying that a 4-day work week doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to earn less money. And there's nothing wrong with, say, working a four 10-hour days, because it may get you beyond, you're going into work beyond the rush, and you're leaving work, you're going to work and leaving work outside of the rush hour times.
Yeah.
There are a lot of flexibility in terms of this. I have a nephew who does a 24-hour shift as a fireman. He is on for 24 hours, and he has 2 or 3 days off, and then he's on again. Now, the thing about that, and they find that the work-life balance is much better because they have so much more time off. In consequence of that, he's sort of like the family Mr. Fix-It, and he goes around fixing his mother's house, his sister's house, his nieces and nephews' homes as well as necessary. Plus, he has a cottage that he can go to. His life is very full and busy because he has the extra time off, and we can all use that.
Well, you know, Al, you're making our point for us, though, in a way, because the fireman has a different circumstance. It has a special circumstance, and you cannot put everyone in that box where a 4-day.
Well, not necessarily, Andrew. I'm simply pointing out that people will find ways to enjoy the time if they have it off. Firemen are a special case. Most of us are working stiffs that work in the office.
Well,
more than
50%
of the population in this country works in offices now.
Okay, but I want to make my point, because you're talking about people who are comfortably middle class, people who can afford to do, 4-day work week. And there are many, many millions, and I know these people because I've been working in that community. I live in the Jane Finch area, and those people have little choice. They're on the buses at 6 o'clock in the morning, and they come back home late at night from their second job, and they do not have the luxury to take a 4-day work week. So it's pie in the sky for so many people.
That's another issue.
Not only is it pie in the sky. Not only is it pie in the sky, unfortunately, I would love it. Okay, let's be honest. From an idealistic perspective, it's a great thing to do it. But from a practicality, there's so many things that you have to look at. First of all, to address what you said, as far as missing rush hour, don't forget, Al, that rush hour is going to shift. If this is legislated, as you're saying, that it should be legislated, that means that everybody is going to be going towards that kind of thing. So instead of having rush hour between 5 and 7, you're going to have rush hour between 8 and 10 o'clock in the evening. So things will be changing according to the way the legislation would work. So again, it has to be, it can't be legislated. It has to be employer based. It has to be for the ability of the employer to be able to have the manpower to be able to keep the company working. So is it doing multiple shifts? Probably. But that is something that we can aspire to, and I'm willing to work with you on that. But of course, you can't legislate it. Otherwise, you're going to have to face a lot of other economic issues on that side.
I can't hear you.
Yeah. I just want to pipe in here what Mario is saying regarding the jobs. It is not that the jobs will, they'll vanish because of AI. So there'll be less jobs and there'll be more people doing that. So how do we give jobs to all the people? By saying, okay, you work there, but you work less. So that is the reason why this is going to happen in the future, is because there are going to be less jobs available for people. I'm not talking about the entrepreneurs and people who have their own business. I'm talking about actually people, the 95% of people who are working in the industry. There won't be enough jobs. And for that reason, maybe from 4 days, they have to go to 3-day work week just to balance out. So this is going to happen.
How are you going to live, Sarab? How are you going to live?
As you said, the money is going to be not an issue because it will be service-based industry. You work, you get your food. It's going to be 1984. The
So 1984. Oh,
Gentlemen,
so what you're saying is the best idea is to remove money from the picture, is what you're saying.
That's one
the issue
idea.
of what we earn is something different from our commitment to work, at least in my opinion. That's where I wish to focus the argument. The system will adjust to suit its own ends, but we can debate that. I think it's time for us to go to the second half of our debate now, and we will go into it with reverse order, starting with you, Mario.
Second half being that our conclusion, you mean, our closing arguments?
Including portion.
Of course. Well, let me basically say this. My particular, I'm a proponent of this. If we're going to go towards a 4-day work week or less, as Sarab said, then the equation has to have money out of it. Okay, so no money, no financial compensation, no way of having any kind of an economic system. So you work for your enlightenment, you work for your growth, but everything else has no value, no money. You remove money out of the picture, okay? That way you don't have to worry about what everything costs. Now, is this ideal? Yeah, but is it any more different than the other ideology that you're trying to say? Not really. It's just a little bit more extreme. But if we go towards what Sarab is saying with AI, that's the future, folks. AI is going to take over all of our business. So what are we sitting here debating about? We're going to have a 7-day work off week. We're not going to be working at all. So, let AI do it all, and let's us all sit down and meditate.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Mario, high five. Mario, smack my hand off the screen. If we were actually in the same room, then that's what we'd be doing as you took your seat.
Sarab, speak once more for the pro side, please.
Yeah. Now I think our con side is talking exactly like Sri Krishna. In the Gita, he said, you keep on working skillfully without attaching yourself to the outcome. You just keep on going in that direction. So if we keep doing that, it'll be a nice place to live in anyway. And now the only problem is this 4-day work week is happening because there's not enough work. And you got to do that job. You got to do something. If you don't do anything, there's a problem because your life is not moving. You're always desiring, you're always doing something new. And finding work is like your desire being repeated regularly. As an entrepreneur, your desires come and you act on them. And every day you're doing something. So you do something, there's fruit of action. And here we are we don't have much to do. That's why this 3-day work week, 4-day work week is going to come, and people are going to be beneficially employed and be sane about it. And I'm not talking about the economic aspect. It'll all change. It'll be all chip driven. Like you have enough money, everything is okay.
Okay, thank you, Sarab. Andrew, your final comments, please.
Well, thank you. You know what? The reality is that the society we're living in isn't ready for the 4-day work week. Just not ready. You can propose this if you want, and I'm not a proponent, and I'm sure Mario isn't either, of people slaving away untold hours. That's not our point.
No.
Our point is that if you're going to do a 4-day work week, look, that is not at the top of the list of things to do. That's going to be well underneath. And when you've got the social safety net working, when you've got all of the supports in place, when you've got this sick day, when you've got all the things you need to have in society in place where people are recognized just for the dignity of their work to begin with, then you're getting to a place where you can start to think about a 4-day work week. But I know even in my own house, not to be too specific, in my own house, I have someone who's been working for 5 years in a minimum wage job. Minimum wage, never got a nickel raise. And there it is inconceivable that people in that position in our society, as right now constituted, could possibly afford to survive on that. So
100%.
you better fix society first, then talk to me about a 4-day work week.
Yep, 100%. High
Okay,
five.
thank you very much. Thank you very much, Andrew. I will bring you my closing remarks. A century ago, prior to the First World War, it was common practice for everyone to work a 6-day work week. And also 12 hours a day. That was just common. You worked all the time. You didn't have much of a social life or a recreational life. But then Henry Ford came along, and in about 1910, he decided to introduce a 5-day work week. Still with the 12 hours a day, but then later on in 1926, he introduced a 5-day, 40-hour week. And the reason for it wasn't what would probably astound you. He figured that people needed recreation time so that they could go out and use the cars that his plants were making and all the other consumer goods. In other words, his view was that recreation is no longer the purview of the rich and the affluent. He felt that everybody should be able to get out there and enjoy their recreation time. Now, this resolution is that we should have a 4-day work week. There will always be standards after that, but I don't want to see a 3-day work week or a 2-day work week. I would like a 4-day work week. I think there's enough in that so that we can stay away from that brave new world where we're standing around in parks swallowing pills just to be happy. I agree that people need a challenge, but we don't need to beat our brains against brick walls to get that. So I believe in a 4-day work week, whether we're working 10, 12, or 8 hours a day, that's another question. Thank you, gentlemen, very much for your input. Sarab?
I just want to say that just think about having a 3-day or 4-day work week on a ship. So after 3 days, the ship will stop there, waiting for it to move.
Well, thank you,
Oh, we-
Sarab.
we are
Mario and
okay.
I appreciate that.
Ladies and
Unless
gentlemen, I hope
an iceberg hits it, then you got something to do, right?
No, a ship on the ocean, that's a 7-day work week.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for watching this little debate. We're going to have more in future. In fact, the coming debate. What is the coming debate?
Well, okay. Ants, termites, and bees are the future. And it's true.
Future of the world?
No, the future of this planet. That's what they are, because we're going to get rid of ourselves. We're working on it. We're working on it hard.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join us on our next debate on the resolution, be it resolved, ants, termites, and bees, we're the future of this world.
And
Thank you very much.
And by the way, our opinions are not necessarily reflecting the positions that we're going to take. So keep that in mind.
Although they may well be, though. They may well be.
For ants. Remember that.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for listening, and please subscribe so you do not miss another episode. Thank you.